Hello, today we'll be exploring the habit loop. I hope you find the insights and strategies we discuss helpful and actionable. Let's get started. In his 2012 book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg introduced the concept of the habit loop to explain that habits form along a predictable path and that this predictable path allows us to form habits intuitively, thereby reducing our typical all-or-nothing thinking. Habit loops require a less intense approach to creating long-term, sustainable change, meaning that we are more likely to create routines and habits that we can stick to. So, understanding this loop helps us see why certain behaviors become automatic and how we can leverage this knowledge to build healthier habits or disrupt unhealthy ones. The habit loop consists of three parts. First is the cue. This is the signal that triggers the habit. It could be a time of day, a location, an emotional state, or something else in your environment. Second is the routine. This behavior occurs in response to the cue. It's the action that you want to change or reinforce. Third is the reward. The reward is what you gain from completing the routine, whether physical, emotional, or psychological. The reward reinforces the habit and makes it more likely to happen again. That's the loop on a very basic level. But let's take a closer look at the habit loop in action. Let's look at how the habit loop plays out in everyday life. Our first example highlights how we may respond to feeling tired. When you feel tired in the afternoon, cue, you might reach for a coffee or snack, routine. The immediate boost in energy is your reward, which reinforces the habit. Our second example highlights what might happen when we respond to an external stimuli. When your phone vibrates, cue, you instinctively check your notifications, routine. The feeling of connection or entertainment is the reward. In both examples, the cue starts our loop. It's feeling tired and hearing our phone vibrate. This cue is what sets your habit in motion. In response to the cue, our routine would be to drink something caffeinated or eat a snack or pick up the phone. This is the routine behavior, and you'll probably notice that you do it automatically. Now, we're going to close our loop, and this is probably the biggest part of the loop, the reward. It's not a secret that our brains are hardwired to build habits that make us feel good, which explains why our typical all-or-nothing approach to habit building doesn't normally work. In our examples, the reward is a boost of energy that helps us focus or get a task done, or we feel connected to whatever we see on our phone. Knowing how our habit loops influence our behaviors can help us not only create new healthy habits, but can also help us break unhealthy habits. Let's look at the steps individually to see them in action. First, we want to identify the cue. We do this because breaking an unhealthy habit starts with understanding what triggers it. Cues can be emotional, e.g., stress or boredom, environmental, e.g., a specific place or time, or social, e.g., being with certain people. For example, if you find yourself snacking late at night, ask, what happens right before I grab a snack? Is it watching TV, feeling lonely, or simply being tired? Once we've identified the cue, we want to interrupt the routine. We want to replace the unhealthy habit with a healthier action. The key is to keep the replacement behavior simple and appealing. Example, instead of reaching for junk food when you're stressed, try a quick walk, drinking water, or practicing deep breathing. The replacement should address the same emotional or physical need. Next, let's work to redefine the reward. Our habits persist because of the rewards they provide, even if those rewards are short-term. To successfully break an unhealthy habit, find a new reward that feels equally satisfying. Continuing with our example, if snacking at night helps you relax, replace it with a reward like sipping herbal tea or listening to calming music. Over time, your brain will associate the new behavior with relaxation. Now, we'll use awareness to strengthen change. Pay attention to the triggers and patterns around your unhealthy habits. Use journaling or habit trackers to document cues, routines, and rewards. This awareness helps you stay mindful of your progress. Things like keeping a note on your phone or a small notebook to log when and why the unhealthy habit occurs, and what you tried to replace it with can be helpful. Finally, be patient and persistent. Breaking a habit takes time. Allow yourself to make mistakes without judgment and focus on consistent effort rather than perfection. Admittedly, this makes the process seem simple, but it will take some practice. So, as I'm often known to say, take it easy on yourself and remember that we are aiming for improvement, not perfection. Some days breaking an unhealthy habit will feel like a breeze and we want to celebrate those wins, but other days will be harder and it's okay to give ourselves a break on those days. Just remember to stay on course, don't give up, and try again when you feel ready. Okay, let's shift our focus to improving or building some healthy habits. Now let's use the habit loop to start building some healthy habits. First, we're going to start small. Building healthy habits works best when you start with manageable changes. Trying to overhaul your entire routine at once can lead to burnout. For example, if you want to exercise daily, start with a 5-minute walk instead of committing to an hour-long workout. Small wins build confidence and momentum. Second, let's pair new habits with existing routines. This is called habit stacking. Habit stacking involves linking a new habit to something you already do regularly, making it easier to remember and perform. So, if you want to start journaling, link it to your morning coffee routine. After I pour my coffee, I'll write 3 things I'm grateful for. Third, let's track our progress. Use tools like a habit tracker, app, or even a simple checklist to monitor your progress. Seeing your consistency builds motivation and reinforces the habit. For example, mark an X on your calendar every day you complete your habit. Aim for a streak of consecutive days. We're also going to celebrate small wins because positive reinforcement is key to building habits. Reward yourself for consistency, even if the habit seems small. You can treat yourself to a favorite show or a relaxing activity after completing a week of your new habit. Small celebrations keep you motivated. It's also important to adjust for flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and rigid habits often fail when circumstances change. Focus on progress, not perfection, and adapt your habits as needed. So, if you can't make it to the gym, do a quick workout at home. The goal is to keep the habit alive, even in modified form. It's also important to focus on the why. Connecting your habit to your personal values or goals increases its staying power. For example, instead of, I need to exercise, reframe it as, I want to feel more energetic and improve my health so I can keep up with my kids. Just as with breaking unwanted habits, building new habits is going to take time. So, be gentle with yourself and allow room for mistakes. Let's talk about one last thing before we end our time together. Let's take a few minutes and work through a habit-building exercise. I'd like you to start by thinking of a simple, healthy habit you'd like to start. This could be anything from drinking a glass of water each morning or stretching for 5 minutes after work. If it helps, you can write it down and keep it someplace where you can see it. Once you've identified a habit, it's time to link it to an existing routine or a specific time of day. Using our example of drinking a glass of water each morning, we could decide, after brushing my teeth, I'll drink a glass of water. Now, let's define our reward. After drinking a glass of water, I'll treat myself to my favorite morning coffee or listen to an upbeat song while getting ready. This creates a positive association with the habit and reinforces consistency, which makes us more likely to continue drinking water. Okay, we've identified our habit, chosen a trigger, defined a small reward, and now we want to track our progress. We can do this using a habit tracker, an app, or even a calendar. We can just check a box or write down something like, completed day 1. To complete this exercise, I'd like you to reflect on your progress about 7 days after you start. Try asking yourself these questions. How did it feel to practice the habit? Did the cue and reward help? Reflect on your answers and make any adjustments that will help make the habit sustainable. As our time together comes to an end, I want you to remember understanding the habit loop gives you the power to take control of your habits. Small tweaks to your cues, routines, or rewards can make a big difference over time. Focus on starting small, staying consistent, and celebrating each step toward lasting change. And most importantly, remember to take it slow, aim for consistency and not perfection, and to make adjustments as needed. Thank you, again, for joining us today.